Hey, what is up, guys? It is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. This is a very different style than I normally have on the channel, and I am super, super, super excited for this one. We've already started chopping it up before it, and I said I just gotta hit the record button. So I have Tahar Hamed here
You said
from
it right.
MSP Camp. Hey,
Nice.
look,
Hell
I take
yeah.
lessons, I listen, and we're gonna be talking about a ton of stuff. And Tyler, feel free to introduce yourself and plug away at whatever you'd like.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, Tahar over at MSP Camp. I was the head of marketing sales for an MSP for almost 8 years before I ended up leaving. And the MSP owner is a partner in my current venture. We did basically provide marketing content for MSPs. So it's about as simple of a service as it can be, but highly valuable. So I love doing it because I'm a creative at heart. Like I write children's books for my kids and get it on Amazon and stuff. So I'm just in general, I love being creative, and so it's like literally a perfect fit for me and my team. So super happy. I guess
I
that's
love it, man. I love it.
that's my intro.
Cool, brother. So I guess let's address the elephant in the room. ScaleCon. Let's talk about it.
ScaleCon. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
For people that don't know, Tahir hit me up on LinkedIn. Actually, ironically enough, as I was giving a prospecting training to my audience and the Discord, and I see Tahir's thing in there, and I was like, all right, I'll address that later. And Tahir reaches out to me. He's like, hey, man, basically we jump on a phone call, chop it up, and he's like, hey, I want to invite you to be a speaker at the event. So we'll be speaking. This is my first, I guess, official announcement. I let you know, look, if you're on the inside group of the Discord, you're gonna know things in advance. But I was beyond honored to speak, and there are some heavy hitters that are going to be speaking as well.
Yeah, man. Well, it's like this is such a good testament of content. Like the only reason I know about you is because how much content you produce. And like it's like when you create good content, you attract, it's like magnets, right? And so you attracted me. I've been watching your content for a year now. So by the time I reached out to you, it's like I already knew you. And that's how my listeners feel like with me when they jump on a call, they're like, oh, I feel like I know you. Like that's content. And
Sure.
and and as an MSP, that's really what we pushed is like we went content crazy in our market. So everybody just kind of knew us. So just kind of cool. Like that's how I saw you. I've been watching content, so I know you're the real deal because I've watched hours and hours and hours of your content. So I'm like, this guy can't bullshit that much content. Like he knows what he's talking about. Like,
I wish it would be cool to be able to, but no, I try to crank through at least 5 videos a week. And
it's wild.
I take almost no days off. Although if you're listening to this, I do get married in the beginning of September, and I can promise you I'm probably taking a couple days off. Talk a little bit about ScaleCon. Obviously, there's some massively heavy hitters in here that are going to be speaking, and I was listening to your other podcast, I guess, with Kevin. So talk about it, man.
Yeah, man. There's like hundreds of people yelling at MSPs what they need to and not do. And I feel like a lot of times MSP is like, well, what should I do? What advice should I take when everybody seems like they know what they're talking about? And so, like, really, the goal of this event is to bring current MSPs that I know are absolutely killing it, the people that have been speaking like you and Kevin Clune and Paul Green and some of these other heavy hitters that I know what they're talking about. I've vetted them. I've personally grown an MSP from 800K to over 5 million. So obviously I've got a track record knowing what I'm talking about. So getting the people that I know what they're talking about, the MSPs that are currently killing it, get them all on the stage where there's a no pitch event, which apparently is novel, which I find hilarious. No pitch, no sales pitches, no fluff, to just provide absolute value over 3 days. Day one, marketing. Day two, sales and account management. So, how do we get the lead consistently? How do we then close the lead? And how do we nurture and cross sell the lead? Day three, we're moving into more workshops. We're going to break into peer groups and groups with people we may have met during the conference. It's going to be pretty lax. We're moving from like classroom style to roundtable, where we all get to talk about what we learned over those last 2 days and brainstorm what we're going to do when we get back. To me, I
Love it.
find that very important. It costs us an extra $80,000 for me to get that extra day because that's how expensive these conferences are in Vegas. It's absolute
Sure.
insanity. But to me, I was like, when I talk to MSPs about what they get out of conferences, the value they get out of conferences, a lot of times it's all of that networking and
Mhm.
meeting people and seeing what people are doing in their business, what they're not doing, the lessons learned, etc. So I'm like, I want a whole day of that.
Sure.
I want a whole, even if it costs me 80 grand, like if people are showing up, I want them to leave and go, this is the conference I'm going to make every year.
Sure.
We're also going to have some light sessions that don't really fall into marketing, sales, or account management. For instance, how do you properly evaluate your business? I saw an amazing presentation from Paige over at Workland Partners. She did such a good job. It wasn't the classic, like, oh, you take your EBITDA times 4, and if you hit 5 million, it's times 6. You know, the classic, like,
Sure.
simplified version of how you value. It's really good. Like, how should you actually evaluate the Microsoft 365 subscription margins and all these other things? And like, how do you get a true value of your MSP? Because we're all in this, we're growing for a reason. Eventually, we're
Sure.
going to have an exit. And so we do need to start thinking about that, even if it might be early for some and it might be perfectly timed for others. So that's like the general synopsis. Obviously, it's jam packed in those 3 days, but that's the overview.
Love it, man. I love it. That's a lot of money for one day.
Yeah,
Thousands of dollars an hour.
yeah.
People think they charge a lot. I mean, go to Vegas. Um, but that's cool, man. And then and quick question, is Nigel coming? Is he going to make an appearance?
This year, Nigel can't make it. Andrea is
Oh,
coming from the Tech Tribe.
okay.
Nigel wants to come so bad, but he actually, it's so funny. The inception of this idea, he flew in to the US in May and we met at the Magnetic Marketing Conference.
Mhm.
And we had such a good time there. That's why I finally met Nigel in person. I was like, we could absolutely do this. And that's where the idea was kind of born. But because he had just made a US trip, he's like, I can't do it again, but and he's been helping me with content, with getting sponsors, with inviting people. So Nigel's input on the event is just as heavy as mine. So he's going to be there, but not, in person.
Gotcha.
So,
I love it, man. I love it.
yeah.
I was gonna say the Aussies making the trip. God bless them, but it's not exactly a trip down the road here. Um,
hmm
but that's cool, man. And then any other surprises, anything like that? I know that you guys have already sold, I think, around 100 tickets at the time of recording this. To give you
Yeah.
guys this is the end of July, so if you're listening, you still have time. Um,
Yep.
I
Yep.
love it, man. And then VIP too. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm super excited about VIP and just general admission. We're up to about 110 now. There's about 20 more people I know are registering that I personally talked to, and
Sure.
they're registering in August. So yeah, we're actually selling tickets until mid-September. So we got plenty of time to sell tickets. My goal is to get to sell out at 600,
Okay.
but at the current pace, we'll probably get closer to 300.
Sure.
Which to me, I think for a first year event, get that many MSPs in a room and just blow them away with value. So those people are coming next year. Plus, I get 300 more. Then we could sell it next year because I do want it to be big. I mean, we're putting a shitload of time and effort and work into this. I'm getting like Paul Green flying from UK, Nigel's flying from Australia next year. So I do want it to be a big event. I
Sure.
just think I'm in general a growth person, so I think the numbers to me are pretty important as much as the value is. So.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I mean, still, if and this is just my own thought, right? If you're thinking about coming, right, you're gonna get probably way more value in a smaller group setting, right, than you will if there's 600, 700, 1,000 people. So, and who
Mhm.
knows, like next year could be 1,000, could be 1,200, 1,500, right?
Mhm.
And I think that that's probably something a lot of people don't um think about, right? You're going to have just more interactions with the speakers. You're probably going to act, there's going to be more time to network. It's going to be less chaotic. I'm sure it's going to be chaotic, but the controlled chaos. So yeah, man, I'm super excited. And it's funny. I've never been to Vegas before until this year. And I was like, you know what? I had the opportunity to go, and now it'll be my third time in Vegas, all in one year. I'm kind of tired of Vegas, but it'll be I'm just appreciative that it's not in July and August because I was there, I don't know, maybe a month ago. Heat. I mean, I moved to North
Yeah.
Carolina and I like heat, and you're in Florida, but the heat in
Mhm.
Vegas is no joke.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I've been to Vegas probably more than any other city I've traveled to in my life, and there's just something about it I love. I don't drink at all, and I don't really gamble, and I still just going to Vegas and eating the food there. I'm a big foodie, so
Sure.
like there's just so much good food there. The shows are incredible, and there's just so many good memories I've had in Vegas. That's where we took our peer group of MSPs when I was still at the MSP at least once a year. So I just have so many good experiences with just all of us getting together as a peer group and just having like learning. teaching each other over the day, and then at the night just going hard and having
Sure.
fun. And so I just have so many fond memories of Vegas. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to spend this much time, money, and effort, I'm going to go to the place that I think everyone else is really going to benefit with as well. So
I love it, man. I
Vegas has
love it.
got a special place in my heart,
No, it's cool, man. I'm excited.
despite how gnarly it is.
It's funny. I'm starting to enjoy it more and more. The only thing I will say, if this is the first time, and this is not a sponsored plug, but you will need to get, because I made this, and thank God somebody warned me. I drink these water boys. They taste like the ocean. They are super salty, but I've always been an East Coaster. We have condensation on drinks, and you wake up. It does not matter if you don't drink, at least in my experience. I woke up hungover because I was so dehydrated every single day. It sucks the moisture. It's the weirdest thing. You could have the coldest drink on the planet, and it won't. There's just no moisture in the air. So do yourself a favor, hydrate like crazy. And if you think you're done hydrating, you're not.
Man,
That's probably the biggest tip I can give anybody coming. It is unbelievably dry and just something I was so not ready for. Um, so
good tip.
cool, man. So what's going on with MSP Camp? Talk to me. What a lot of good pushes going on, I see, and you guys are growing like a weed.
Yeah, man, it's been super fun. Like, I think just the way we do content is very different. Like most people, when they see MSP content, it's like two people shaking hands or just some boring ass content that like no one is ever going to interact with. And that's literally 99% of content that you're going to find from agencies, from content providers, from in-house, whatever.
Sure,
And we've always just kind of gone differently because at our MSP, what worked for us is standing out as far as we can. Like we'd be funny, we would do silly videos, we would, create content that, are like tips, like, hey, what is the difference between OneDrive and SharePoint? Like,
sure,
I still don't see content like that being produced much. I'm like, that's the stuff that I get asked all the time when I was in MSP. So like, why don't we create content around the stuff the prospects are asking about and not like another cybersecurity post about dark web monitoring that they don't give a shit about? So I
sure,
think just like the way we've approached content, it's just different. And some people, like, I get it. Some MSPs are like, oh, we don't want to publish that. And it's like, no worries. Like, it's a free trial and then it's literally cancel any time because I don't want to lock anyone in. Like, if they're not happy with the content, cool. Like, no worries. Like, we're doing us. This is how we do it. And if you don't like that, that's cool. But there's a lot of MSPs that have really just kind of like latched onto that. And they're just like
sure,
huge advocates. And so to have raving fans in a new business is like super cool. Like, I'm like, dang, this is awesome. Like, people that are like really happy with what they're getting and telling people
sure,
about it. So a lot of that word of mouth is happening. We're a marketing company, so we do a lot of marketing, right? We do Facebook ads, we do SEO, we do
sure.
direct mail. Like I practice what I preach. We're sending 3 direct mail pieces over the next 3 months to all of our MSP Camp members to get them to come to the event, right? So,
Mm,
we really practice what we preach. We're not the kind of marketing company that, what does everyone say, like the cobbler without shoes? We're the opposite. Like, I'm like,
sure,
no, I want to show how good we are at marketing with our own marketing.
sure,
And that, it just struck a chord. And so now we're kind of branching into some other stuff. Like we are starting to do some agency services. I really don't want to be an agency because I think when MSPs outsource all of their marketing, it's going to fail. And
yeah.
I'm
It's almost guaranteed to fail.
almost guaranteed. So I'm very outspoken about that. And so that's why I never want to build an agency, but we are building some like managed services,
Mm,
primarily for the marketing coordinator. Like, hey, marketing coordinator, I know you're not really going to be an expert at SEO, so we'll do the SEO for you at a cost effective number. So that way, the management of it is still in house with a marketing coordinator or marketing manager, and it's not the owner going, my marketing is now with some company, right? That doesn't work.
sure,
And then we do like social media management because at the end of the day, I think social media is valuable, but it is not valuable enough for an owner to be spending 20 hours a month on, or even a coordinator, really.
sure,
Like MSP Camp already has the content. We're going to brand it for you. We'll post on your social media so you always have content going out. Then you can focus on that one awesome custom piece of content a week. Like put
sure.
the emphasis on that versus I got to get something out every day. So we do social media management. We're doing the website SEO. So we're doing some agency services, but it's super select right now. We're basically just taking our favorite members and like offering it to them. It's not a public service kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So
Love that.
yeah.
Love that. It's yeah, I think, I think that there's definitely a part of business where you have to make the content, right? And I think that there is, I think there's like two parts of content. And I've preached this for the longest time. There's supplemental content and then there's your own content. And I've said this probably thousands of times in my videos at this point. Like think about what the customer is asking you, right? And you just said it, like, hey, what kind of webcam should I use? Yeah, basic tech. What's the
Yep.
difference between, Dropbox and SharePoint? What's the difference?
Yep.
Google, should I be on Google Drive, or or better yet, should I be on Google Workspace, or should I be on Microsoft? Like, the amount of people that don't answer the most fundamental and basic questions that your customers are consistently asking. Most people don't even know what the dark web is. Like,
Yeah.
nobody cares.
Yeah.
I think, like, the amount of opportunity, and then on top of that, like, I think MSPs, with like what MSPs do, they have such a unique, position. Like, obviously I'm a marketer, right? But there's nothing physical. There's nothing, I can't be like, hey, go buy this water bottle, right? And,
Hmm.
or look at me, I'm making water bottles for a living, like,
Hmm.
whatever it might be. You have the servers, you have the computers, you have the inventory that you're constantly running. You might have a server closet in your office. You have a team of people that you could ask them what's going on. I mean, like, the amount of opportunity to just take a camera and make some, and if you don't have a camera, I mean, a GoPro, right? Like,
Hmm.
I'm as you can tell, I'm a tech guy. I just have tech laying around everywhere. But like, it's so simple to have
Yeah.
something, and the competitors aren't making anything.
No, nothing.
It doesn't even exist. It's literally for people that don't know, the blue ocean, red ocean strategy. You got to go find a blue ocean where there's nobody out there, and or little to no competition, versus a red ocean where everybody is. But like, people think that, oh, this person's doing it. It's like, they're not even in your market. Just
Yeah.
there's so much opportunity for success.
Yeah. I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. And it's like everyone thinks like, oh, is there too much content out there? It's like there's not enough content. There's a lot of noise out there. There's
Sure,
not enough good content. So yes, you should absolutely be producing content all the time, every day if you can.
all
Right.
the time.
I actually just did an episode. It's almost like an anti-sales for MSP Camp because I'm like, you cannot just use templates like MSP Camp. You
Yep.
can't just use content. Yeah, I mean, you can adapt, you can add your logo and everything else. You have to be creating custom content too, but you also can't only be creating custom content. Like my problem when I was at the MSP is I was only creating custom content. So there was always this like, we'd go really good on marketing. So I was creating this content, but then we'd get the leads and then I'd be running the sales leads and then it
Sure.
kind of slowed the marketing down. So there was always this like back and forth. So like having a really good catalog of content that you can pull from, ebooks to add to your website, right? Like I know you're doing that. It's gold.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
there's quick social media posts you can add, like whatever it is, whatever content provider you want to use, you have to nowadays, with the level of content need, have some type of provider. So just making sure that it's actually a good provider, making sure the content's actually good and it's not more stale bullshit. I see stuff where it's like 10 home smart gadgets that MSPs are posting on their blogs. I'm like, you guys don't do residential. Why are you creating content tailored at residential? Like, I see it all the time. It's because the marketing coordinator at the agency or content provider is just like, oh, this is technology. Like, that shows the disconnect
Sure.
between the marketer and the actual prospect. And
Yep.
that gap is not okay. Like, that's where noise happens.
I tell everybody, like, and I actually just finished, and this is coming out. So if you're listening to this, you're getting a sneak peek of it. I'm still polishing, but a marketing onboarding sheet, and I'm gonna give it out. Like, you could like, the
Love it.
goal of this is to just download this. And I had a conversation with a young guy yesterday. He wants to start his own business, and he doesn't really want to go into the MSP world. And I said, look, if you go to a marketing company, right? And I told them, I'm not working with you if you're not going to be an MSP. It's just not who we work with anymore. And
Same.
I go, you have to, if your marketing company does not hand you a sheet, or you hand them a sheet that says, who's your target customer? What do they like? What do they not like? Psychographics, behaviors, where they're hanging out, the whole nine, they suck. Like, that is the
Mm-hmm.
first telltale sign that whoever you're hiring is awful, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have to have that kind of stuff. You can't
Yeah.
just, you have to be able to communicate. And just like you said, like, that's what happens when you go to a general agency that doesn't know MSPs, and they're like, hey, this is tech, right? Like, hey, 5 USB chargers that you could, that are the best, based on our
Yeah.
ratings. Like, that doesn't work. And not only does it not work, nobody's searching that. And there's
Yeah.
already a flooded market of other, I hate to say this, but trash out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I literally couldn't even imagine an MSP having success with a general marketing agency. Now, I think there's some MSP specific marketing agencies that can do a good job, but again, it needs to be augmented. They need to be helping what you're driving internally. Like you
Sure.
need to really be driving the strategy. So yeah, I totally agree, man. I can't even imagine like with how difficult it is to market an MSP, like an agency trying to do it where they're getting paid $3,000 a month. It's like, how many hours are they really going to put into that MSP? Like 10 hours a month? Like
Sure.
that ain't going to drive the needle, you know?
Yep. Yep. And like I said, MSPs already have like take a camera, any camera. You have a phone in your pocket
Oh yeah.
and record what you're doing and then tell people about it. Like it is not that hard to do. And if you're a small business, small MSP, sub 20 people, yeah, the owner of the business might have to do it. But the owner of the business doesn't have to go ask for approval, have somebody review it. Like they can just say, hey, this is good, post it. And even mediocrely good content is still eons better than the I hate to say it, but the garbage that other people are putting out, because it's just
Mm.
they hired an agency, they found somebody else's templates that have no relation to the MSP world, and then they're just posting and hoping that moves the needle, and then they get upset after 6 months and they're like, why isn't this working? It's like, well, because you're putting in the least amount of effort and you're paying the most amount of money.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I would say is it's amazing how much emphasis MSPs put on social media. Like, I think social media is important. It's absolutely drive leads for me when I was at an MSP. But I think it's because it's the easiest thing of marketing for people to understand. Like, they get it. It's like, okay, there's these 4 platforms, like you post on the platforms.
Mhm.
But it's almost like one of the least valuable aspects of marketing when it comes to the MSP space. Yeah, it's the one that like most MSPs really know a lot about and think a lot about, you know? So I don't know.
Sure.
It's just something I've noticed where it's like people really will put a lot of emphasis on social media. It's like, yeah, you should be growing your audience. You can absolutely capitalize on that. That's gold. But then they'll neglect like what their website looks like. It's like, okay, so you had a great post, it blew up. Someone followed the LinkedIn, went to your website, and your website looks like shit. Like, what do we do? Like, we got to start at kind of like the foundational stuff first. Like, got
Sure.
to build an audience. We got to have a website that looks good, that can convert. Like, we got to have lead magnets, as you preach, and I love. Like, you got to kind of, I think there's just more important marketing stuff to put your content versus just social media. But anyway, that's just a rant I've been thinking about in recent weeks. I'm like, huh.
And look, to caveat on that, I made a video a while back. It said design doesn't matter, and I will stand by this still. You could have the nicest, like there was a time when Webflow had a lot of a big spotlight on them, and since then they've kind of diminished from the spotlight a good bit. But it was Webflow. Webflow is a fantastic builder that kind of circumvents custom coding a website, and they had like the website awards, right? And it was all these websites that like they were the best of the best, right? The best designers around the world design these websites. And I can tell you out of the list of 20, because I went through all of them, they all sucked because the design was at its absolute peak, right? But it was like modern art. You couldn't actually even figure out what the company actually did.
Yeah,
People have to understand what you do. And in
yeah,
my opinion, the text on the website, the messaging that you have on your website, it has to look simple. A simple, clean website will always succeed. And
mm,
I had another, I don't want to say competitor, but somebody in the MSP world, and he's like, I don't even like your website. I go, I don't really care. Converts really, really well. Sucks, bro.
yeah. That's
Like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
you want to talk about conversion rates? Because I guarantee you mine's better than yours, right? And he goes, oh, right. And I was like, that's what matters at the end of the day. We all want to grow a business. We all want to make money. We all want to get leads. The design's important, right? You don't want it to just look horrible, but the
Mhm.
messaging, people have to understand what your MSP does, who it specializes in, what industries you're servicing, what services you're providing, right? That is
Mhm.
so much more important than having, the Picasso of websites that
Mhm.
most people won't even understand.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. I would agree with that.
So just drives me nuts when I hear that kind of stuff. It's most of the time total baloney.
Yeah. Baloney. Are you a dad? Because that was a dad move.
I am not a dad, although I do have 3 dogs. Those are my
That's what
kids
you're
right now.
technically. Yeah.
So I'm a dog dad. My dogs are the greatest thing in the world. They're currently all trapped outside because I didn't want the mailman to pull up and they start going crazy in the middle of this. And it's funny too. I try to record at night when they're asleep, than during the day, because anything, just be 10 minutes before this, we recorded somebody ran ran by with a dog, and it wasn't even on our side of the road. It was on the other side of the road, and it might as well have been World War III going on in my house. So it's the
Death to
struggles.
other dog.
Yeah, it's just like it is what it is. So I try to record when it's peaceful or kick them out when I get a chance. Um, so that's cool, man. And so what else are you seeing going on in the MSP world as far as marketing, content, and all that kind of stuff? And I know you mentioned right before this, I'm people being marketers, right, and specializing in
Mm.
that. And I'm bringing a guy to video, myself, and I'm sure we'll
Mm.
we'll do some video for you guys as well.
Mm.
But what else are you seeing out there?
Yeah, so it's cool. I talk to so many MSPs now, which I love. And I think there's a lot of positives, a lot of struggles. I think this year is very different than even last year. I don't think we're in a recession, but I definitely think B2B, especially in the tech, lead count seems to be down a little bit. And a direct anecdote I've seen this is one, I market for quite a few MSPs, including All Tech Services still, they're a client.
Sure.
And I've had to work harder this year, even though they're just an agency client, than last year to get the same number of leads. So, it is kind of interesting seeing that this year is a little bit different. For instance, there's a lead generation company in the MSP space that actually does a pretty good job. I think they do like email and cold calling and whatever. And I think it's like $4,000 a month. And it's funny because their expectations last year were 6 appointments a month.
Sure.
Now they're cold appointments, as you know, like cold appointments are a little tougher. They're not
Sure.
as warm as
Yep.
SEO
Yep.
or referrals. It takes a lot of work. So 6 employees, 6 appointments sounds great, but really you need like 10 sometimes to close. But anyway, 6 appointments is still pretty good, right? Well, this year they've revised it down to 3,
Yeah, that's crazy.
right? And so that's literally a 50% drop based on the data they're getting from all their different clients. And they go, okay, actually, we need to cut this in half for the MSP market. Which is very interesting. And then the reason they have to do that is because they do like, hey, if we don't set this number, we're going to work for you for 6 months, after 12 months, blah, blah, blah. So they're realizing, holy shit, we're working free for a lot of clients. We have to go down, even though they've been in business for many years and have been hitting that 6 appointment number. So just an anecdote of general lead generation, which is why I'm excited there's people like you that are really teaching people how to market. And obviously we have a podcast where we teach people how to market because we're hearing a lot of positive things from those MSPs, right? So the people that are putting the extra effort in and actually starting marketing and not just relying on those inbound or not just relying on those referrals, they're starting to see the fruits of their labor already. So I think as we start coming into a better market, hopefully in 2025, those people that are paying the dividends now, I think it's really going to pay off for them well. I had one guy that was literally, he had not gotten a lead from marketing ever in the history of his 12-year MSP. He's tried a lot of things. Since he's been listening to the podcast, he gets between 2 to 4 leads a month.
I love it.
So it's just, that's like seeing when I get emails like that.
It's the best.
Dude,
it might as well be drugs. It is.
Exactly.
It is like I get them and melts my heart.
Totally. And so we put so much time and effort creating content and help and trying to help people, and we don't always get feedback.
Sure.
Right? Like a lot of I'm creating these campaigns I post on the site. A lot of people say, "Hey, great content, thanks." I'm like, "I know, but what did it do? Like, did you send the mail out? Like, did you get result? Like, tell me."
Sure.
And it can be very hard to get that feedback, but that once a month or a couple times a month where you get the feedback, it's like, cool, I am helping, and that it makes all these hours and hours and hours of content creation worth it.
Yeah, big time. That's that's super, super interesting. I definitely feel it, and I'm feeling it during the summertime. It's funny. I check Google Trends. I'm like, where did all the leads go? Like, even for me, like,
yeah.
And I don't know anybody in the MSP space that makes as much content as me, and that's not a flex. It's
Me
just
neither.
I don't see anybody.
I don't think there's anyone even close.
I go
not even close.
I go pretty hard.
Yeah.
5 days, 5 videos a week, and even for us, I'm like, damn. I'm like, it's a ghost town around here, and we're still getting them, but like. And it was funny. I'm like trying to figure this out, and and trying not to be a typical marketer where it's like, oh, the building's on fire, let's just dump all the water on it. It's like, no, relax. It's just, this year has been slower than most, just based on what I've seen from other businesses, including my own. And as soon as like May comes, May, June, everybody goes on vacation, even Google Trends. Like you could,
Hmm.
if you go on Google Trends, and that's a really good thing, I think, for MSPs to use. If you're not getting leads or things are a little weird and you have a pretty specific vertical, like go on Google Trends and search, like, start getting creative with your searches. And I just searched like IT companies, and you could see like it slowly trending up. And then, the end of May, early June comes around, it just plummets for all of summertime, and then September when it takes off again. So it's crazy. Like even in this industry, the tech industry, it's cyclical. Like there is
Hmm.
a slow season, and we are in it for sure.
Yep. And I think the good thing is that is literally the perfect environment to learn marketing. I
Yep.
know it's tough, it's tough, adversity's tough, but it is these types of environments in general are what make us better marketers. And here's a kind of metaphor. I love jujitsu. I'm obsessed with it. I go at least 2 or 3 times a week. To me, it's just like my outlet.
Hmm.
And there's one guy I roll with that if I don't have the absolute perfect triangle on him, or if I don't absolutely get everything right, he's not going to tap. I'm not going to submit him, no matter how hard I try. And then he's going
Sure.
to submit me, right? That human has made me better at jujitsu more than anybody else that I roll with because I
Hmm.
know it's got to be absolutely perfect to get it right. That's exactly the type of environment we're in right now, especially in the summer months and really this year in general. It's like if you can figure it out in this environment, if you can start getting leads in this environment, you're set for when things do start picking up.
Sure. Yeah.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of MSPs are on the sidelines. They've started lowering their ad spend,
Yep.
and I'll
Yep.
think of Henry Ford trying to save money by stopping advertising is like trying to save time by stopping a watch.
Sure.
Like it's just you this is the time where we need to double down. And I'm not saying this, I need everyone needs to understand I'm saying this objectively, right? I don't have a high ticket thing to sell anybody,
Sure.
which is why I'm saying this. Like my thing's like $97 a month. Like your things like that, like our things are very inexpensive. So there's no
Yep.
real like
Pennies.
reason we'd have to say this. We're not saying, oh, you should invest in marketing and use our tool. Like I don't give a shit what you use. I'm
Hmm.
just saying now is the time to start doubling down because it's going to pay dividends, next year. And a lot of times when we think about successful advertising, when we think about good websites, when we think about what works, it almost always boils down to content. Almost always.
Always.
It's kind of
It's
insane.
it- you know. eh,
Like,
oh, keep going. Keep going.
no, I'm just saying, if an ad's not working, change the content. You can use the exact same targeting we're using, and all of a sudden, oh, starts working, right?
Yep.
Like the content we use is so hyper important in the marketing. And yet, what's crazy is agencies and everything else, they pitch all these systems and processes and then leave the most important thing to the side. And like, we really need to take the opposite approach where we have really good content and then we plug it in where we think it needs to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I so wholeheartedly agree, and I think now, even while we're in the desert, right? Ironically enough, we're going to the desert in a few months. But while we're in the desert of leads and marketing, now's the time, right? You're not going to get the eyeballs. But when you do get the eyeballs, you know that you're doing something very, very right. And now's the time to create that content, right? Build that wave, that tsunami. So when things do start to shift, you are light years ahead of anybody else. The guy Brandon, I know you mentioned a guy Kevin that works for you. I got a guy Brandon who works for me, and Brandon came to me knowing nothing, and he asked really good questions. He's like, dude, why do you make so much content? I go, I want to have an unfair advantage against the next person that tries to make content. Right. And he was like, that's crazy. I go, and every MSP can do that. Right. Now is the time to build that content because when the market shifts and everyone starts dumping money again, you are going to be so far ahead of anybody else trying to run the same race as you.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, and like think about you, man. If someone searches MSP marketing, if someone searches MSP sales presentation, if someone searches so many different queries on Google, your videos are almost always there because there's almost guaranteed you've done at least one video on that topic, right?
Sure.
Like that's I think of I talk to people about content like magnets. Like it's magnets. Like you are literally the more content, the more magnets, the better content, the bigger magnets.
I agree. I'm actually writing a note down of another idea that I just had for another video that'll probably
There
be
you
out in
go.
another couple of weeks.
That's the content mind. So going back to what we said earlier, I invited Harrison because I want him to speak, right? I mean, I like him. I'm like, dude, you got good content. Come. What does Harrison do? He asked me right away, hey man, can I get an extra pass to bring my or whatever? Can I register a videographer? because I want to get a vlog of this whole damn thing. I'm like, of course you can. Like,
Sure.
absolutely. I mean, we're gonna have our own videographers, we're gonna have photographers, but that's what I'm saying. There's no like the more content, the better. And
Sure.
Harrison's got a marketing mind. He's like, if I'm gonna go to Vegas, if I'm gonna do this presentation, why don't I get as much gold content as I possibly can that I can use? I see MSPs that will do really cool presentations at Chamber of Commerce or whatever, and they don't have any content. They did that presentation one time to an audience of 30. It's like, holy crap, you could have taken that and you would have had social content for a month. You could have had a great YouTube that you made sure you put a good title on there that could bring in inbound, especially if you include the city in the title. Like there's so many things we can do with what we're currently doing.
Sure.
So so good stuff, Harrison.
It's I preach it, and especially you're gonna put all that work in.
Yeah.
Throw a camera up. Like, I mean, this is no plug for any product. I just happened to buy it the other day because I was in Vegas and I wanted something smaller than my big tripod. But like, I was like, oh, I'm going to Vegas, right? And I ended up not even recording anything, and I kind of wanted to just take the time off. But I'm like, this is just a little tripod. You put your phone on it, right, for 20 or 30 bucks on Amazon. But
Nice.
like, this is worth it. Like, just what's the worst that happens? You decide this is awful or I absolutely bomb and it never sees the light of day. Okay, but at least you have it. You're getting the attention of people. You're not going to make the most of it. And that was literally like one of my first questions to you. As soon as I said, like, you invited me and I was like, yeah, can I bring a videographer? Like,
Yeah.
there's not a chance on God's green earth that I'm going to lose to or not bring somebody that and if you said no, I was going to bring a tripod and multiple cameras and set it up and just I will be the one-man team for sure. But how would you ever pass up that opportunity to use it? You present in a chamber of commerce, you have people watching you. Does the background matter? Not particularly. I mean, I got hexagons from Amazon in the background and a light from Amazon in the background. Like, as long as the content's good and the content's valuable, why would you ever pass up the opportunity for a decent mic? I use these DJI ones, but like a Rode Go, throw that thing on. It's going to cost you $200-300, and you're going to have a mobile video setup that you can leverage infinitely down the road. And you can put that on your website, you could put that in your marketing, you could put that in your email automations, you could use that as an ad. If you want to use that as an ad, you can create something, you could put it on YouTube, and then let your immediate network, your Chamber of Commerce, your LinkedIn network, whomever it is, and say, hey, this is if this video helped you, I'd really appreciate if you pass it on to somebody else to bring you more eyeballs. Like, not it takes 10 minutes, and if you mess up, you're human. I mean, I don't sneeze in any of my videos, thank God. That's probably the only thing I don't want to go do is have to go cut out a sneeze. But anything else, I cough, I drink water in my videos. Like, I am a human. I'd rather have great content. Even the videos that I released today and probably tomorrow. I mean, by the time you guys hear this, it'll be several days before. There's a ringing in the video. I'm like, the content was so good, I'm not going to re-record the content and risk missing something, right? There's a little ring in there. I tried to get it out as best as I could. I bought DaVinci and learned DaVinci last night to go through it all. But just because I think it's so valuable. And hey, look, I tell everybody, every piece of content is a lottery ticket. And the more lottery tickets you can get, right, the better chances you have of winning. And that's something I wholeheartedly believe in.
Yeah. Totally, man.
So maybe I'm just a crazy person, but
no, I love it, dude. I love it. That's exactly right. But ironically, you're one of the only speakers that asked for that, and we're a bunch of marketing people.
Don't tell anybody else. I want to have the advantage on it.
Yeah.
It was my first thought. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be on stage in front of all these people. I'm gonna be at an event with people, and I already know that there's been a good handful. I think we're at like between 5 and 10 people that follow me.
Oh, sweet.
That are in the Discord that have already sent me DMs or made it public. Hey, I'm going to ScaleCon, which is pretty cool.
Dude, that's
and I know
awesome.
Thanks, and I know there's more coming. So, and I think that this will probably help get because I haven't made it. Like I said, if you only follow the YouTube channel or now our podcast MSP Heroes, then I haven't mentioned it yet. So this is the first time the public is hearing about it. But if you want to hang out with us in the inside, growth-generators.com/Discord. Shameless plug. But it's true. I try to it's not about the money for me. I'd rather see people win and you become a success story than making money, right? The money will come, but the help, I think the help is super important. And I hope MSPs take that and run their own digital campaigns with it as well.
Hmm. Yeah, the money will come. Our mission statement is grow by growth.
Sure.
So to me, setting that up for the beginning, from the beginning is super important.
Hmm.
We're obviously going to grow. We're growing. We plan on growing a lot, but that growth is going to be born out of the growth of our members. Because if someone is helping you grow, you are absolutely willing to continue to invest money with them. Like Kevin, who's on the podcast yesterday, he
Hmm.
is a marketer that helps me with a specific aspect of my marketing at MSP Camp, and I pay him a good amount of money, and I'm not going anywhere because he's already shown me he's helping me grow.
Sure.
So I just think, like you said, the way that you do value and the way you provide value to your listeners and the Discord and everything else, like it's going to help them grow, which means now you become invaluable.
Sure.
So I love that that's your mindset as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually funny. I just pulled up our core values on our website. Care deeply for client success, prioritize exceptional customer experience, embrace change and adapt quickly, and then cultivate a fun and enjoyable workplace.
Nice.
That's really it. And those are and something I say all the time is a rising tide lifts all ships. And I'm not just saying it for mine and Tahar's business, right? Like as MSPs, you guys are like in this super unique position that by implementing the right, the right technology, the right systems for your customers, they grow. And
Hmm.
in turn, you get to charge per seat. So the
Yeah.
more you can get your customers to grow, and especially if you could show them the growth, right? I talk all about quantifying, but the more you can get it into that mentality, now they're going to have more seats. You're going to inherently make more money and 100% grow by growth. A rising tide lifts all ships. And if you can truly set out and make your customers exceptional in their technology and solve their technology needs and problems and all that, like the world is your oyster. You can print money for your business, and it'll never be a guess of, hey, am I doing the right thing? Like by doing the right thing for your customers, you're just always naturally doing the right thing, and doing the right thing will naturally help your business grow.
Did you hear that applause?
No, I heard the pause. Oh, no, I didn't
The
hear the pause.
applause?
I did not hear the applause.
The
Oh man.
applause didn't come through?
No, it did
Oh,
not.
man.
It's
Oh, it was
I
perfect
saw you
timing.
messing with something. I'm like, he's definitely doing something.
Oh, so you can wait, hold on. Can you hear this announcer voice? Are you coming to ScaleCon 24?
Oh, I could hear that. I could hear that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just got this new podcast pro thing. I'm absolutely loving it.
I love it. I love it.
Oh man. So
I
instead of an
well,
applause, there was just an awkward pause there. Damn, sorry, man.
I'll throw a
Okay.
pause in or an applause in post here,
All right,
just
cool.
to make it sound correct. But it's no, I mean it's true. I really think that MSPs are truly in a unique place. It's not like any other business, right? Even marketing companies, right? Yeah, if you help your customers grow, they're not always going to spend more money with you.
True.
I have a buddy of mine, MSPs are a service-based business. I have a buddy of mine that runs a super successful pest control company. Their job is to almost eliminate their job, right? They want to
Hmm.
kill the insects and the bugs and the creepy crawlers that you don't like, and then they're done. MSPs are in this wildly unique position where if they really help their customers grow, they have an infinite ability to grow themselves,
Hmm.
and it's super cool because there's almost no businesses on the planet that can actually do that, and even if they could, it's not nearly as easy as an MSP.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah. Love it, man. What else you want to cover? Anything else, or is that we can wrap this sucker up and we'll record one again in a few months?
Yeah, man. I would say to anyone listening right now, well, especially if you've gotten this far to the episode, um, and you're considering going to ScaleCon, I promise I'm putting so much time and energy into this, and this is not going to be a pitch fest, and this is going to be the best people I know when it comes to marketing, sales, and account management. So if there is any conference you go to this year, going to one that's more intimate, and highly educational would definitely be a good choice. There's a lot riding on this event as well. Like I'm personally investing $175,000 into it. So I'm not willing to let this fail. So just want to make sure everyone knows like this is not going to be some haphazard, taped together thing. I have almost a full-time employee working on this here in-house in Lakeland. So I just implore you to check it out. It's going to be great. And no worries if you can't make it this year. We're doing it again next year. So just kind of keep it in mind, and we hope to see you there. Obviously, Harrison's going to be there. Me and my whole team's going to be there. Angie from the Tech Tribe. A lot of really prominent people and prominent MSPs. So hope to see you there. It's going to be a really good time. And Harrison, I'm super excited to meet you there as well.
Dude, I'm pumped. I am. It's funny. Every time I get invited to something, the first thing I do is I check or remember the dates of ScaleCon to make sure that there's no.
Yeah.
That, I'm like, no, I'm going to speak in Vegas. Like, there's nothing more important than that right now. And look, if you're a follower of the channel, the podcast, you hang out in Discord, and you want to come hang out with me, obviously, I mean that's where I'll be. And I think it's gonna be super super cool. And honestly, I'd really, if you can make it, I'd love to meet you, especially the audience. Melts my heart when I get emails about success and even like, hey, trials and tribulations that people are going through.
Yep.
I appreciate people that reach out to me and just say, hey, helped. I didn't even know that you watched my channel for years beforehand.
Yep.
That means a lot to me. So it's been something truly, truly amazing, and I'm excited to meet as many people that show up as possible, and maybe we'll have the MSP Heroes Army come through.
Nice. It's awesome.
Love it, brother. So how can people find you otherwise? I'll leave a link, by the way, down in the description of the video and the podcast, so people can go register. And any other plugs you want to make while you're here?
Not really. I'm terrible at email, so don't email me. Yeah, LinkedIn, Tahar Hamed. Yeah, podcast, No Fluff MSP Marketing. It used to be called No Shit MSP Marketing, but we had to kill that name because the my partner thought it was a little too out there. I'm like, I know, but with content, you got to be.
You got to
So
be
I'm
out
not
there.
sure. I mean, the podcast is going well, but I'm like, I bet it'd be going even more if it was named. No, but so yeah, I would say that's it. Obviously the site is msp-camp.com. So yeah, but I'm not here to plug MSP Camp or anything like that. Just wanted to come, talk to you and announce that you're coming to ScaleCon. So
Love it, man. Love it. Looking forward to it. Tyler, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I hope the audience learned a lot. If you've made it this far, like, subscribe, notify, and I'll see you guys at ScaleCon.
nice. Thanks, y'all.
Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.
Got to do the signature sign off.